Le grand méchant ours, quand il se réveille, il a faim. Et qu'est-ce que le grand méchant ours préfère? Une petite souris.
Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel, Paws On Animation.
Today we're covering the incredibly underrated animated movie, Ernest and Celestine.
And this wholesome movie is based on the book series of the same name, following the unexpected friendship between Ernest the bear and Celestine the mouse in a world where bears and mice are enemies.
That's an interesting setup, yeah. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe for notifications when some future podcasts and one of Paws videos.
And thank you so much for joining us today. This movie originally came out in 2012. It's an animated drama film. It's considered a drama. And it was released at the film festival in France and in Toronto in 2012. And then it was released at the Hong Kong Film Festival in 2013.
Right. So,
Written by Daniel Pinault.
For the movie, right? Or for the book? Okay. And actually ended up hearing about this movie online. And they were showing different films from across the world, and one was for France. And France usually has a lot of animated movies that are smaller scale, one-shot type stories, whether for kids or for families. And they don't usually tend to be worldwide popular. They tend to be just have their own little cult following and have it for animation fans. And this one actually sounded interesting, and it was only a little over an hour, so I figured why not try it. Ended up being one of the best ones he had watched, and he actually ended up rewatching it recently. And it actually has a sequel now because it's such a dedicated fan base, both for the movie, the book, and the series, that there actually was a sequel made, I think, last year.
Yes, and it runs about 80 minutes, so it's not really long. And the voice cast, there was a French voice cast, but we're going to mention the English dubbing voice cast. Ernest was voiced by Forrest Whitaker.
I'm just surprised.
Definitely. Celestine by Mackenzie Foy. Lauren Bacall was the great one. Paul Giamatti, William Macy, Megan Mullally, Nick Offerman. Jeffrey Wright is the bear judge, which I thought was pretty funny. And then David Bolton, Ashley Ernest, who we're really not familiar with. But what was really nice is that it was a critical acclaim everywhere it was released. Even Rotten Tomatoes, that wasn't so rotten back in 2012,
right,
gave it a 98% approval rating.
Wow. And so, it actually was good. And I do think that one reason it didn't blow in popularity in terms of being shown like everywhere here and talked about is because when you look at the promotional stuff for the movie, it's different depending on the region. It's got something that's like watercolor based art or something a little close to the book, which they do actually hint at that it's sort of loosely based on. Some is a little more calm, a little more sweet. And then what's funny, you get to the American posters and they show them like it's Bonnie and Clyde and they're on wanted posters or the mug shots. And it's like, wait, why you get to America and you pick the least wholesome thing to show them? And that's what they kind of end up advertising the movie as some type of something like The Bad Guys or something, where it's two people accidentally framed or committed a crime and it's a high comedy. It's like, no, it's really not. It has humor in it, but it's really more low-key, almost slice of life.
And it has such a calm vibe when you watch it.
It's
really very quiet, even when the action scenes and the drama is going on. It's very calm, like this podcast is right now. It's soothing. And even when you think it's going to go wrong and the animals, some of them start yelling, it still has a calm vibe, which I thought was pretty crazy.
Yeah, you're right. The entire time it has that. And the way this world is built up is that bears and mice are enemies. That's not really a concept you thought that could even happen, because usually it's cats and dogs or cats and mice or mice and cats. It's usually something that's the enemy. We've never seen bears and mice be enemies in any other animated thing, so this was a first. And of course they have the message about, prejudice and everything, but it's not the main focus of the movie. the focus of the movie, Ernest and Celestine's friendship.
Absolutely.
And first, they want to be friends or be stuck together. She generally just was helping him because he was hungry and didn't have any food for days. And she accidentally had him eat all the food in the candy store, not knowing he was stealing. And he was just able to actually eat something. Even if he made his stomach hurt, he was actually eating something. And they end up, living together, all hiding from both respective groups, police force. And yes, knowing if they were friends would lead to more issues and trouble because yes, they're that fearful of each other. And the way they got it is that the bears are mean and vicious and they eat up all the mice, every single one they see, and they're terrifying. And then for the mice, they're sneaky little thieves that will take advantage and everything. So they both got their stereotypes of the other, and they do think they have each other in the beginning, but they see that's not who they are.
Yes. And as you said, friendship is the running theme throughout it. And I love that throughout the movie, once they make that connection, they don't destroy it even when they end up in court.
Mm-hmm.
And as you say, the respective lawyers are pitting them against each other. They won't turn each other.
Yeah.
And then there's a drama that happens in the court where they could actually run off.
Mm-hmm.
And it can leave people to actually be hurt or animals to be hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And they both choose not to do that. They actually help the ones who are convicting them or attempting to convict them.
Right.
And so then you see, unlike in the real world, a change in attitude
Right.
of the ones attempting to convict them.
Right.
And realizing that they were not only wrong about the two of them, but the situation and the way they think of the opposite group of animals.
Right.
And that's a happy ending. Now remember, this is 2012.
Right.
People still listen to reason, still thought about love, still thought about forgiveness, and not allowing bad things or negative things to take over their hearts and minds.
Right.
That
That's
was 2012. And this movie is a great representation of, unfortunately, a time that seems to be past us in the way a lot of people think now.
Right.
Whether it's on social media or in real life. I think that's why Ernest and Celestine really sticks out as you said, a wholesome and a sweet movie to watch.
Yeah. And we did say there is a sequel to this movie, and we never thought it was going to be. We knew it was a show, and we haven't seen it yet. And we assume it's taking place after the movie, like seeing how the mice and bears now getting along now that they're no longer having this sort of bad ideas about each other. How are they getting along now? Or are they slowly coming together? There is a sequel one where they go to an entire land of nothing but bears. And the main concern...
Give her Tisha.
Yes. And the main concern is that you're hoping that they don't backtrack, because this movie was made fairly recently, only a year or two old.
2022.
Right. 2 years then. And the main concern is you're hoping that it doesn't backtrack and go back on its message, or put them right back where they were, being in an environment where the prejudice is all over again, or is worse off than ever than where they were in their town, and they're in a whole country full of it. And that's sort of what like the series Green Eggs and Ham ended up having. While it did take from a much older Sue story, they still were implicating stuff that were remnants of now, where the people were way more difficult to deal with. And we haven't seen this sequel yet, but we're really hoping that it's just as great and entertaining as the first one.
Well, it was released in France in 2022. And it's based on the books written by the same author, Gabriel Vincent. And it was actually released, I guess, to no announcement in the U.S. in 2023 by G-Kids.
Oh, we got a trailer.
Out.
And we got a trailer, but yeah, I never had the actual date for it.
It looks like the English dub cast is totally different.
Yeah, probably 12 years later.
And it costs cheaper too, unfortunately. You've got Andrew Kishino and Ashley Boddicker, who I'm not familiar with. But another character is actually voiced by David Lodge.
What?
Kenpachi, Zaraki Kenpachi.
Cool.
Lena Josephine Morano, I don't know her. Bill Lovely, don't know him. Daniel Hagen. So the only one we're familiar with is David Lodge, who is an anime voice actor.
Right.
So maybe we'll be able to find it.
Hopefully, yeah.
But it says it was released also, for those of you interested, there's a Blu-ray that's out.
You can buy it on
released in
DVD.
January of this year.
Alright, so it's still fairly recent this year on home video. And I think the main thing from this whole movie, with wholesomeness intact and hoping it stays like that with the sequel, is that this is one of those rare to find feel-good movies. And it's kind of a shame that you don't really have a lot of those anymore. You have a whole show of Bluey, but you don't have that, right, you don't have that entire category and collection of, hey, I missed all these action and comedies and high fantasies, all that, here's something calm. You rarely get something calm because it seems to be the goal is to constantly stimulate a person to constantly keep watching them, binging them, buying and things. Nothing to get your brain to relax, not shut it off, but just relax and have fun. Right, need a remarkable plushie to just calm down or something. And this is one of those movies that you'll really enjoy if you just want something nice and calm to watch. And it's fun for everybody.
The good news is, I've seen that it says it got generally favorable reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, who we normally don't listen to, rated it 100%.
What?
It was also nominated for an Annie Award, for Best Animated Feature Independent Film. And it says, and I quote, Sandy Aguilo Chin of Common Sense Media, with so many family movies approach the 2-hour mark, but there's something special about a film that can tell a good story in only 80 minutes. No drawn-out pacing issues to get through here. Just a lovely film that explores deep, universal themes without pandering to the audience. So that's hope that this is going to be great, because this is actually the reception for the second movie.
Wow, okay. So we'll definitely be covering that.
Absolutely. So if you've seen Ernest and Celestine, the original, let us know in the comments below. And if you've actually seen A Trip to Gibarisha, let us know as well.
Right.
How did you enjoy it, and is it definitely worth purchasing? And if you haven't, we saw it again it was originally on Netflix.
Right.
And then we saw it on demand.
Yeah, for Tubi.
Yes, so you can go on Tubi and watch it and come back and let us know what you think.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and movie reviews for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
And quickly, we wanted to mention that this was released by Studio Canal, who's done quite a few other French movies we know.
Right.
Then they also
like
do
Monster in Paris, Mune, and
they
a
do
few
Miraculous
others.
Movie?
And Miraculous Movie,
Yes.
yep.
So, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Feel free to share this podcast. It really helps our channel a lot. And we appreciate you more than you know.
Yes. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Hit her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket.